Good morning. You are listening in to a special FA Cup game day breakfast on talkSPORT with the former Aston Villa, Marseille and Nancy striker Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. We're with you until 9 o'clock this morning, and here are some of your headlines. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola says he will not stand in Kyle Walker's way if the England defender actually leaves the club during this January window. We'll have more on this later on in the show when we look into all the very latest transfer stories, but the defender has made it clear that he would like to leave. Ash Gardner's fine all-round performance proved the difference as England were beaten by 4 wickets in the first one-day international of the Women's Ashes in Sydney. The win gives Australia a 2-0 lead on points in what is a multi-format series which England need to win outright in order to regain the Ashes. And David Moyes says it is great to be back after being appointed the Everton manager for a second time yesterday. The Scot signed a 2.5-year contract at Goodison Park following the sacking of Sean Dyche on Thursday. Everton legend, Leon Osman told talkSPORT that he is the perfect manager for Everton's current situation.
I think he understands what the Goodison Park fans expect. I think he understands that, yes, you know, first of all, it's 100% when you go over the white line. Yes, you don't want to concede goals, but, you know, everybody wants to be entertained. Everybody wants to be able to get out of the seat and see goals and chances being created. So I'd expect him to not want to tinker too much with Everton defensively because, you know, that was the strength of Sean Dyche's team. So I think it's getting into certain areas of the field, wide in particular, down the sides of the penalty areas, and providing crosses from those areas that a striker can really try and go and attack.
Yeah. Go on.
I was nodding there, but Leon Osman there because, do you know, if you said to me one club that's had the greatest centre forwards for heading the ball, leading the line, Everton. Everton have had from Bob Blatchford to Joe Royal to Duncan Ferguson, Andy Gray, Graham Sharp, just to name a few. They've had fantastic centre forwards who lead the line. And as he said there, crossing the ball, getting the ball in the box and attacking it. It's the one thing that Calvert-Lewin has failed on. He's a great header of the ball. He's got fantastic lead.
Yeah, but have the deliveries been great?
Well, not enough of them for a start. You know, Tim Cahill left Millwall, and Everton fans remember him. Great in the air, great at arriving in the 18-yard box, attacking the ball. Phenomenal at doing that. And David Moyes, I think he did it with Fellaini as well as a midfielder, you know, attacking the ball in the 18-yard box. So I do totally agree that it feels like the appointment that there's always discontent with a certain element of fans, but he absolutely understands that football club and what the desires of the fans will be. And I think Everton has to be a stadium where you go to and you fear, not just from the fans' perspective, but the way the team play in an aggressive style of getting players on the end of crosses. And, you know, their goal return is just dreadful.
I'm off, Mike. 15 goals.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible... Trying to open the paper while also doing things and dropping the mouse at the same time. Yes, it's... You're
getting angry because you're trying to avoid Brentford. Stop avoiding Brentford. You sidetracked me there, Nat, with, Leon Osman, and go on then. Let's talk about Brentford losing, by the way, for the third time in a row in the third round.
Yes, which is why it doesn't bother me. I'm used to bowing out at this early stage of the competition.
Natalie Sawyer, the fans, complacent.
Were we complacent? Do you know what? We were awful as a fan base. There was hardly any singing. Maybe there was an element of complacency from the fans. You could argue, certainly from the players as well, that was chosen by Thomas Frank. Bowing out 1-0 as they did to the Championship bottom side Plymouth, who had not won away from home, I think it was right in saying. It's one of those things, right? When you look at the stats, and I think this is the interesting part, when you look at the stats, this is where the stats can skew everything. Yeah. Look at the stats on, for example, look at the Sun. Barring shots on target, which was exactly the same, Brentford had, in general, 9 shots to Plymouth's 5. Okay, not much in it. But possession-wise, 71% in favour of Brentford. Passes, 584 to Brentford to Plymouth's 244. Completed passes, 515 to 175. Corners, 13 to 3. Touches in the opposition box. 28 to 11. But you look at that and you think, well, that's a smash and grab.
But you watched it with your eyes, so your eyes told you something different.
But there's a reason I'm saying that. Yeah. You look at those stats and you think it's a smash and grab, and it was not. Brentford were dross. Brentford were terrible. I've not seen a more mean, that first half, I said to you early on, I was questioning every reason as to why I was there. But I thought, what's all right, second half will come out. We'll be better in the second half. No, it was still the same. Even the changes that Thomas Frank made didn't really make much of an impact. What I will say about Plymouth, my goodness, bodies on the line, blocking, they were just incredible. They got back in their numbers to defend. They were fantastic. And like I say, the blocks that they made, even blocks that you sometimes thought, well, that's not really going to go anywhere. But wow, did they slide in and make some blocks to stop Brentford? They were fantastic and fully deserved that win.
Can I question? Plymouth had played under Rooney. They were very insistent on playing out from the back. In areas regularly, playing out from in day and trying to play a style of football that he really believed in. And this is not having to go at Wayne Rooney. This is more about what were they like yesterday? Was it more of a no nonsense approach to if the ball needed to be put in the stands, it was put in the stand?
I wasn't seeing much of a playing out from the back, but then I wasn't. Brentford were also masters of their own downfall. I've never seen us. Hit so many balls out of play and wayward passing, but maybe that's because Plymouth made it difficult. They made it difficult for us.
Well, that's fair play to them because.
No, absolutely. I have no gripes at all about them winning. They deserved it, and I was even afterwards. I filmed their celebrations, so I thought they were fantastic. Honestly, and their away support were wonderful as well. Yeah. I mean, it sort of some of their chants were very Football League chants, shall I say?
Oh,
no, just some of the because they just reminded me of when we were in the Football League. It just made me laugh. Some of the chants. I was
Have you got one?
No, they're all rude. That's what I mean. But no, they were fantastic. They were great support. And you could see that it was a victory that really meant something to them.
What are you got to do now? When you're a team that have less ability and not as gifted a squad as what Brentford have, you have to go there and dig deep and battle for everything. And do you know what? You might ride your luck and you get that one opportunity and you take it. Yeah. But that's an example of a sort of textbook guide of trying to get players to overachieve, get more out of the game. Mm-hmm. We've seen everybody get rolled over this weekend, really, from the lower levels, rolled over. And you've gone there and you've got a result from a season. Look, you feel for Wayne Rooney in these sort of scenarios. Don't you? You think he couldn't get a win and you could say, well, okay, tactically or the way he set up his team, it didn't quite work. But to go and win in their first game under a new manager at Brentford, who are a Premier League team.
Well, he wasn't in charge. He wasn't in charge.
Oh, right, but he
was there in the stands. I mean, he must have been watching on thinking, well, this is all right.
Well, he'd have had some sort of impact now. He would have done.
Yeah. Well, but he only came in like the night before, so it's a bit of a...
Yeah, but also, the assistants of... Okay, let's give credit to the assistants of Wayne Rooney that were there. Are they the same as they stayed on at the club, or was it a new...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so let's give a bit of credit to them. They might have gone, well, we're going to cut out all these things to give us a chance of not giving goals away.
Absolutely.
So give them credit then.
Absolutely.
There was a reason why they were playing the way they did. If they're blocking and getting in and no nonsense if the ball was in a certain area that needs to be cleared, there was a reason they'd have been told to do that. Yeah. Otherwise, they'd have rolled it out from the back all the time.
No, of course. And like I said, I have no gripes about it at all. They fully deserved that victory. The only gripe I might have is with Thomas Frank a little bit, where you sort of think he made 6 changes to the team that beat Southampton 5-0. And you sometimes wonder... So many managers make changes. I'm conscious of the time, but so many managers make changes to their cup lineups, and I understand it to a degree, especially when you've got midweek games coming up. But sometimes you think, why not start with your strongest team and then take those players off, and you might actually win that tie early doors.
Yeah, but it could be home and dry, really.
Yeah. Whereas he still had to bring on Brian and Burma, still had to bring on Johan Wieser, and unfortunately, they just couldn't. Down to Plymouth, the way they were played, we just couldn't really get through them. But you'd sort of think, well, maybe if you'd started with those players, you could have brought them off. And then there's that question of, well, why did they not do it the other way round?
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.